Welcome our viewers in Nigeria and across the world. This is Lunchtime Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Kaido Kikili here in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. First, the highlights. President Buhari reacts to court judgment nullifying his removal of Senator Ifeanyi Ararume from the board of the NNPCL, promises to follow judicial process. Re-elected governor of Adamawa State, Fintiri, seeks prosecution of electoral offenders, vows to take it up if the appropriate authorities do not. And Labour Party presidential candidate Mr. Peter Obi blames the leadership crisis rocking his party and those he describes as people fighting democracy. As he says, this won't distract him. Well, let's begin with the Federal Executive Council meeting, which is holding at the State House in the nation's capital, Abuja. Well, the meeting is being presided over by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, for the second week running, while President Muhammadu Buhari is away on a trip to Saudi Arabia. Those in attendance at the meeting include the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, ministers, as well as ministers of state, among others. Our State House correspondent, Gloria Mezoke, is covering the meeting and will bring in updates as they come in. Well, the president may not be in the country, but he's not out of touch, it will seem, as he's been responding to yesterday's judgment, which reinstated Senator Ifeanyi Ararume on the board of the NNPCL. Well, according to a statement by his spokesperson, Mr. Femi Adesina, President Muhammadu Buhari says he has taken due notice of the judgment by the Federal High Court Abuja restoring Senator Ararume as the non-executive chairman of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, that's NNPCL. He goes on to say, while the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice is yet to receive a formal copy of the ruling, the president affirms that due judicial process will be followed, and NNPCL has already taken steps to go on appeal. The president is also calling for calm from all the sides involved. Well, after days of anxiety amid some drama, the Independent National Electoral Commission has finally declared Ahmadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party as a winner of the Adamawa State governorship election. The INEC returning officer, Mohammed Mele, made the announcement in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, yesterday, where he declared Mr. Fintiri polling a total of 430,861 votes to defeat his closest rival, Aisha Binani Dahiru, of the All Progressives Congress, who polled 398,788 votes. But this next report takes a look at some of the events that transpired prior to yesterday's announcement of the result by INEC.
So the thing is,
after the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, declared that the supplementary election for the governorship seat in Adamawa State, northeast Nigeria, will hold in 69 polling units in 20 of the 21 local government areas of the state, attention shifted to two major contenders, incumbent Governor Ahmadu Fintiri of the People's Democratic Party and Aishatu Dahiru, popularly known as Binani, of the All Progressives Congress APC. After the first round of voting on March 18th, Mr. Fintiri of the PDP led with 421,524 votes, while Binani scored 390,275 votes to trail with 31,249 votes. Collation of results for the governorship supplementary elections in Adamawa State commenced at about 10 p.m. on Saturday, with party agents, security personnel, observer groups, and members of the media present to monitor the process. The state returning officer, Professor Mohammed Mele, alongside two national commissioners of INEC, Dr. Baba Bila, who is the national commissioner supervising Adamawa, Gombe, and Taraba states, as well as Professor Abdullahi Zuku, who is the national commissioner supervising Kano, Katsina, and Jigawa states, monitored the process. The resident electoral commissioner of INEC in the state, Mr. Hudu Ari, is absent, but no reason was given for his absence.
APP scored 0 votes.
One after the other, the local government collation officers presented their results. Between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m., results from 10 local government areas were collated, while results from remaining 10 local government areas were being expected. As the waiting continued, the INEC resident electoral commissioner, Mr. Hudu Ari, showed up and announced the adjournment of the process. However, before the scheduled time and while stakeholders were yet to reconvene, Mr. Ari showed up at about 9 a.m. in the company of some heads of security agencies in the state and declared the results.
No, you are not. No! It can't happen. This is not fair. You cannot.
Most of the mainstream media were absent, and only those with phones could capture the moment.
No, okay, it's about like
the NNPC support the highest vote.
No. How?
Thank you very much.
But while the controversy was on, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Mrs. Aishatu Binani, gave an acceptance speech. But Governor Umaru Fintiri described the development as a travesty of democracy and asked that the airing wreck be sanctioned.
This action is no doubt prerogative, but in this situation, I appeal for calm.
Meanwhile, INEC, in a swift reaction, declared the action of the resident electoral commissioner as null and void, and also suspended the collation of results and summoned Mr. Hudu Ari to the national headquarters for investigation.
And Governor Fintiri has been reacting to his re-election as the governor of Adamawa State. He says the people of the state voted for good governance and also described the outcome of the election as a victory for democracy. He also promised to probe all those who, he says, were working against the smooth process of the state governorship supplementary election. Take a listen.
We have performed excellently well in this state. Our people love us. They have voted for continuity. They have voted for continuation of excellent rural and urban infrastructure. They have voted for human and capital development that we have laid a very good foundation for. They have voted for excellent healthcare system and program of the state. They have voted for healthcare insurance. They have voted for continuation of free and quality education in the state. They voted for free payment of WAEC and NECO, and other excellent things that have made life very meaningful for the good people of the state. I think everybody has learned his lesson. INEC itself as an umpire have learned a lot of lessons, and they have corrected their wrongs so that they can protect the institution. Police that is supposed to protect democracy became caught up in the whole saga. It's unfortunate, it's a disgrace, but I think everybody is picking up and they are trying to correct their wrongs. Time will tell if these people will be properly prosecuted. But if they don't prosecute, this criminality took place in Adamawa State, and I'm going to prosecute them.
Well, there's more on that as the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Atiku Abubakar, has hailed the announcement by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Mr. Atiku thanked the people of Adamawa for voting in their preferred candidate and hopes that lessons are learned from the mistakes which happened during the supplementary election. Well, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is not wasting time at all, as it will be presenting Governor Fintiri with his certificate of return in a matter of hours. In the meantime, however, members elect to the National Assembly who emerged winners in the supplementary election have been receiving their certificates of return at the INEC headquarters in the nation's capital, Abuja. And there you see some of them seated right there at the conference room of INEC headquarters in Maitama, the nation's capital, for the presentation of Certificate of Return to Governor Fintiri of Adamawa State. INEC says that will take place at 3 p.m. today. But for the senators-elect and the members-elect, the presentation started, as according to schedule of INEC, as early as 11 a.m., which is just over an hour ago. Our correspondent, Victor Matthias, is live at the conference room of INEC headquarters in Maitama, the nation's capital, where the presentation of the certificates of return is currently taking place. And we do hope to get updates from Victor on what exactly is going on, what to expect, and just what the atmosphere is like there. But you're seeing images from the conference room of INEC headquarters in the nation's capital, Abuja, where the certificates of return will be, or is being presented to members-elect to the National Assembly, and later on today will be presented to the governor-elect of Adamawa State, Governor Ahmadu Fintiri. We'll bring you more on that, but let's get deeper into this conversation. What played out in Adamawa State left a lot of people befuddled, and the question on the minds of a lot of people is, how do we remedy what happened such that we don't record such embarrassing situation as some have described it yet again? And we're joined by the Executive Director of Yaga Africa, Mr. Samson Itodo. He joins us virtually on the program this afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the program. I know you have been monitoring this particular election. Well, yes, you started off with the general elections, but for this one, all eyes were on this particular election because of the peculiarities. And seeing what played out, I wonder how you're internalizing it, particularly what lessons should we learn from this election so we don't keep repeating the same things again?
Well, thanks, Coyote. In case my network messes up, just know that I'm in transit. But I'd say there's a lot of lesson, to be learned on this particular case. The first lesson that I think we need to learn is the fact that our politicians are desperate. They want to secure political power at all costs and are not ready to play by the rules of the game. And this culture of impunity is something that we need to address. And this is why, the actions taken by INEC on the gross misconduct on the part of, the resident electoral commissioner needs to be commended. But INEC needs to go beyond that to ensure that this rec is not only suspended or investigated, but he's removed from office. And I'm quite happy with some of the actions that INEC has taken. The second, critical lesson is that institutions can work, institutions can function if politicians do not put these institutions under pressure. Because you look at what happened, with the Adamawa case, the fact that INEC responded swiftly clearly shows that INEC does have the power. INEC knows what is the right thing to do in a situation where its staff, attempts to support unacceptable. But INEC, nullified that illegal declaration, but has also written letters. We hope INEC can also extend the same action to other resident electoral commissioners who undermined the process during the presidential election, as well as the governorship election. The third critical lesson to learn from this particular process is that the Inspector General of Police, responded swiftly by redeploying, the police commissioner who was present when, the resident electoral commissioner committed that criminal. But I think that the IG needs to also learn or borrow a leaf from what the actions INEC has taken. by not only redeploying the Commissioner of Police, but thoroughly investigating the extent of his involvement, as well as taking disciplinary actions. And I hope that the Police Service Commission can also step into this and hold the police commissioner to account. I think that we must also went to the court to secure an ex parte order. But I love what the justice did by requesting the counsel to present a written address. And that's a tactical judicial intervention. Because if that judge were compromised, he would have granted that order and that would have disrupted this entire process. So I'm quite delighted. And so the judiciary, the police, as well as INEC can see that when they take actions, that boost the confidence of voters, especially when there are remedial actions to address deviant behavior on the part of political stakeholders, it can inspire a lot of confidence on the minds of Nigerians.
Well, Samson, this had been predicted in some sense. I recall last year where CSOs came together and raised concerns about the nomination and eventual appointment of 19 commissioners for INEC. And, there were names mentioned. Well, his name was not mentioned in some of those names that people thought there were questions around their affiliations, whether or not they were apolitical and all of that. So some will say we saw this coming. But I see that connection is jerky, and this is a conversation we really need to have. So I'll just let you go for now so you can settle down, but this is a conversation we need to have such that we take a look at areas that we maybe dropped the ball and ensure that we, plug those loopholes so we don't have to repeat this again. But I have to thank you so much for at least, shedding some light on this and maybe whetting our appetite so we can have this conversation in the coming days. Samson Itodo is Executive Director of Yaga Africa. He had to join us in transit just to show how important this conversation is. Thank you again, Samson, for joining us. I will definitely continue this conversation. But let's move on now on the program. And, well, the courts have been playing a major role. So we're back at the courts this time around. The Federal High Court in Abuja, which has refused to grant the request of the All Progressives Congress to remove Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on account of his unlawful defection from the party to the People's Democratic Party. Or Justice Enyang Ekwo, in a judgment in a suit instituted by APC, held that similar requests on similar subject matter had been voided by the Court of Appeal in several judgments. Justice Ekwo said that since the judgments of a Court of Appeal holding that governors cannot forfeit their seats on ground of defection had not been set aside by the Supreme Court, they remained the law and binding on lower courts. The judge held that lawyers ought to have counseled their clients in respect of such matters that are pending before the Supreme Court, adding that it would amount to an exercise in futility for a federal high court to decide on a matter pending before the apex court. Well, APC had in the suit asked the court to invoke sections 177, 179, and 189 of the 1999 Constitution to declare the governorship seat of Sokoto State vacant on the account of defection by Mr. Tambuwal to another party. The party claimed that it won the Sokoto governorship election in 2019 and that Governor Tambuwal must be made to surrender its mandate if it chooses to go to another party. However, Justice Ekwo held that the case of APC lacks merit in view of the position of the Court of Appeal on similar matters, and Justice Ekwo subsequently dismissed the suit. Away from the courts now to the legislature, ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, the Secretary of a Planning Committee of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Senator Adamawa, is advocating the need for the office of a Senate President to be zoned to the southeast. Speaking in the nation's capital while playing host to the leadership of the Progressive Advisory Forum for Good Governance, Senator Agba says there is a need to promote national integration and cohesion through politics of inclusivity. He adds that the presidential election has been won and lost, so it is time for Nigerians to look forward to good governance from the coming administration of President-elect Bola Tinubu.
We have finished the elections. Now it's time for governance. And if you look at Section 14.3 of the 19th Constitution, which in summary provides for federal character, it says in the government of Nigeria, every section shall be included. In the government, it didn't say in the election. So that section presupposes that we would have finished election and we are now in government. So you are not going to determine what goes where by whether or not they voted for you. We have gone past that point. We've gone past that point. Where we are now is the point of national integration. So we have finished elections. Section 14.3 is talking about government. We are now at the point of governance. So my own position has been in the leadership of the National Assembly. Let us look at that part of the country that has consistently cried over marginalization and see how we can, as a matter of national policy, integrate our brothers and sisters of the Southeast. It has nothing to do with how they voted.
Well, let's bring you more now. Leaders of the Labour Party have reaffirmed their solidarity with the leadership of the national chairman, Dr. Julius Abure. The resolve was highlighted during, or rather after, the party's National Executive Council meeting in Asaba, where members dismissed the allegations against the chairman, calling it baseless and an attempt to destabilize the Labour Party. And for the presidential candidate of the party, Mr. Peter Obi, the crisis currently rocking the party is caused by some persons whom he says are fighting democracy, and no amount of distraction will stop the party from pursuing the right cause.
It is the same enemies that are fighting us that are fighting the party. It is for us. It's not going to be easy. From day one, I said it's not going to be an easy fight. They're trying to remove all those who have lived off this confusion for years. They're not going to go away laughing. They're going to fight back. It will take time. Whatever happens, we must stay the course because we want to build a new Nigeria. We want a Nigeria where Nigerians will be proud to say they're Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian, committed Nigeria. I don't have any dual nationality. So this is my own country. And I've said it that even if there's war outside this country, if I'm outside, I'll come back because it's my country. So I'm committed to it and I want them to be committed for it.
Well, staying with party affairs, the Gombe State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has expelled Senator Danjuma Goje over alleged anti-party activities during the 2023 general elections. Mr. Tanimu Abdullahi, the chairman of APC, Kashiri Ward of Akko local government area of Gombe State, had on March the 22nd inaugurated a 5-man committee to probe the alleged anti-party activities leveled against the Senator Goje. And briefing newsmen in Kashiri, Mr. Abdullahi said the expulsion of the senator was based on the outcome of the committee's investigation. The chairman stated that the committee invited Senator Goje to defend himself in the spirit of fair hearing, but he failed to honor their invitation. Let's now bring you more on our lead story. INEC has been presenting certificates of return to members-elect of the National Assembly who emerged winners at the recently concluded supplementary election. And much later today, it will present a certificate of return to Governor Fintiri of Adamawa State. Our correspondent, Victor Matthias, is live at the INEC headquarters, where this is holding as we speak, and he joined us for more updates. Good afternoon, Victor. Well, you're back again at the INEC headquarters, and I'd just like you to walk our viewers through what is going on there and what to expect today.
Absolutely, I'm back again. Good afternoon, Kaidi, and good afternoon to our viewers as well. So, like the biblical cup that would run over, after so much blessings, the conference hall of INEC at the headquarters is filled to the brim, and indeed it is running over with families, friends, and supporters of members-elect and senators-elect who have come this afternoon, to collect their certificates of return. So far, about 8 senators have collected their certificates of return. 23 members of the House of Representatives-elect have also collected their certificates of return. And the place is a beehive of activities. So many people are here. So much is going on. INEC clearly have, a full hands, and they're trying to do their best to ensure that everything is being done in the right and the properly manner. So all of this is happening, against the backdrop of the supplementary elections that took place over the weekend. So much has happened. Announcements were made, and that has culminated in what is going on today. Like you said, for the governors, Governor Fintiri of Adamawa, Ahmadu Fintiri of Adamawa will be here before 3 p.m., of course, because his own collection would be at 3 p.m. So much is going on here right now. And of course, INEC have so much to handle. They're trying, but it is overwhelming, I would have to say. That's what is going on at the moment right now.
Well, Victor, all eyes is on INEC still to see what will come out of the issues raised with the Adamawa election. Is there any inkling as to maybe INEC's move in the coming days after this is over as to how, the issues with the wreck in Adamawa State will be handled, and other questions that Nigerians have raised that they hope that this will not repeat itself again? Is there any word on that?
Yeah, well, I think INEC has pretty much spoken, as INEC has given its stance. First of all, it suspended the collation of results in Adamawa. Then it's, brought back everything to Abuja. They had a closed-door meeting yesterday, after which the officials who were part of the meeting, mind you, that meeting was chaired by the chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, after which they all flew to Yola, the Adamawa state capital. They recommenced the collation of results, after which they announced Ahmadu Fintiri of the PDP as the winner. They declared him the winner of that election. But before that, Kaide, you'd also recall that INEC suspended the rec in Adamawa, that's the barrister Kudu Ari. They didn't just suspend him, they asked him to step away from all activities of INEC. And they went a step further to write to the Inspector General of Police, asking him to arrest him and prosecute him. But, when Governor Fintiri was making his acceptance speech, he also made mention of the fact that if, the federal government or the police cannot do that, this offense took place in his state, within his jurisdiction. And he said, moving forward, he is going to prosecute the former resident electoral commissioner in the state. So these are the things that have been going on. INEC, I think, they've made their stance clear. They've suspended, they've asked him to step aside from, all INEC activities, and they have also asked the Inspector General of Police, to arrest as well as to prosecute him. So currently, this is the update. This is where everything stands. Nothing yet has been said with regards to Rec Hoodoo, suspended Rec Hoodoo, I beg your pardon, as well as, the election. But, this whole situation has put political supporters of both parties, at daggers drawn, loggerheads. There's people supporting, what happened with Hoodoo, and then there are people who are saying that this might have to go to the law court. But we'll have to wait and see. Coming days will be interesting. Of course, we will be keeping our eyes on the ground, our ears on the ground, our eyes on INEC, as well as Nigerians, to see how all of this will unfold.
Well, our correspondent, Victor Matthias, live at the INEC headquarters. Thank you for that update. And of course, you'll always get back to us when you have more. Thank you again. Well, let's now bring you a breaking news. Well, a bus, rapid transit, BRT vehicle, and another commercial bus have been engulfed in an inferno following an accident in Ward Alakpere area of Lagos State. And there you see, it is still unclear, though, how the incident occurred. The accident has caused a major gridlock for motorists inbound Ogudu from the 3rd mainland bridge heading to the mainland. The situation is also worsened by the rains and floods, causing road users to spend long hours in traffic as they head to their various destinations. Again, a BRT vehicle and another commercial bus have been engulfed in an inferno following an accident in Ward Alakpere area of Lagos State, and they see the traffic gridlock as a result of that. Well, it's a developing story. I will bring you more details as they come in. But that's Lunchtime Politics for this afternoon. Thank you for watching. I'm Kayode Okikule. Goodbye.